Good afternoon and welcome to the COVID-19 update on Channels Television. I'm Millicent Walker. First, the highlights. Today, traders in Bayelsa flout stay-at-home order, resist state government's restriction order. On our theme today, we examine the implication of relaxation of the second phase of the national response to COVID-19. And India registers a new record daily spike with 8,392 fresh infections as the country eases restrictions. Nigeria, like other countries around the world, is taking steps towards full reopening of the economy. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 on Monday read out the approval from the President, the advanced Phase 2 on the ease of lockdown. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation called it a cautious advance into the second phase, given applied science and data before arriving at the resolution. The task force promised to mobilize all resources to create awareness and improve compliance in what they called a long-term battle with the coronavirus in Nigeria. On our theme, we look at the 4 weeks on the ease of lockdown, which begins today with emphasis on sustaining the gains of COVID-19. 416 new cases of COVID-19 has been recorded, and that's in 19 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 10,578. According to the latest figures released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, the number of patients discharged so far stands at 3,122 and 299 deaths have been recorded. Of the new cases, Lagos has 192, Edo 41, Rivers 33, Kaduna 30, Kwara 23, Nasarawa 18, Borno State has 17 cases, FCT 14, Oyo 10, Katsina 7, Abia and Delta states have 5 cases each, Adamawa and Kano 4 each, Imo and Ondo 3 each, Benue, Bauchi and Ogun 2 each, and Niger State 1 case. According to regions, Lagos in the southwest still has the highest number of cases at 5,135, you can see on your screen, followed by Kano in the northwest, the second highest with 958 cases. The FCT is third with 574 cases there in the north central. In the northeast, Borno has the highest figure at 288. Edo in the south-south is top with 325, while Ebonyi still leads in the southeast with 40 cases. Now, the Kano State government says it is doing all that it can to flatten the curve of COVID-19. Barely 24 hours after the federal government's easing of the lockdown, the state government, riding on that, also releases guidelines on how to manage access to markets and locations of economic activity to limit the risk of transmission. The state government says that after due consultations with key public health professionals and critical review of the situation in Kano, markets, places of worship, movement of persons are now allowed on Sundays, Wednesdays and Fridays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. In the meantime, the state has taken delivery of the new Gen Expert machine for testing of samples donated by Rana Oil and Dangote Oil. The Vice-Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano, says the machine will aid in enhancing the fight against COVID-19.
This machine that has been donated will go a long way in assisting us to increase the capacity of the test we carry out in our center and in the teaching hospital. So this is why it is very important and very critical, and we very much appreciate the donation of this machine for this. Another advantage of the machine, as being explained by experts, is that it can be used to test for other infectious diseases such as TB. So to be very useful to the teaching hospital, to the center for researches into infectious diseases, not only COVID-19, but other types of infectious diseases. For now, the university has ordered quite a number of consumables, but those consumables can only go so far. The consumables, as the name implies, are things that are consumed continuously. Whenever they are used, they cannot be used again. We have been sourcing for exploring sources of funds to get this, and we still appeal to well wishers to provide us with additional consumables. The more consumables we have, the more tests we can carry out.
It's not been the best of times for traders in Ebola markets in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, as they resist the government's restriction order over what they call unbearable hunger due to the lockdown. The traders who reopened their stores against government directives say they can no longer stay at home as their dependents are going hungry.
We dey suffer for Bayelsa here. For the lockdown, no dey okay for our body. So we need government to come help us for the lockdown. And our money wey they take do business don't finish. We don't know what we go do again. With the young government, the government they come give us small money. Since then with the wait government, we don't see any government. So now we dey cry.
As a team is so now, and I get one since lockdown, I get market. It's over 400,000 when me get my house. I don't chop and finish. Now as a team is so now, I don't have one night to chop. To even to go or Anocha. I don't no way again. Now they say that now Anocha market now Anocha price now is 5,000 naira a one person. Going and come back is 10,000 naira. So how you go use make am?
We selling these tailoring things. Since they said there's no function, everywhere is shut down. Even you come, you don't sell because there's no function anywhere. So I've stayed and my children are crying, no food and all the rest. And we have to support our husband. Some of us are not working government work. We all do hand work. Likewise, my husband. And since the shutdown, we're all at home just like that.
No money, no customers. It's because of my children. We don't have food again. And my children are crying for hunger. That is why I come out.
So it's still the debate between the hunger virus and coronavirus. Well, joining us to throw more light on this, Dr. Olufemi Oyekon is a public health physician. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So hearing the realities of some Nigerians as to what they're going through this period, how would you assess the government coming out to say, okay, so this is the second phase of the national response to COVID-19. This is what will happen the next 4 weeks, what we heard from the PTF yesterday.
Okay. The government is doing its best to salvage the situation. We have to understand that there's need to balance between the medical aspect and the economic aspect, which is very, very important. And until there's a definite pharmaceutical intervention, meaning a approved drug treatment protocol and vaccines, we need to find a way to live with the vaccine. And that's why the government is trying to ease up the economy, and there are steps in doing that, and that's what the Presidential Task Force is doing presently.
So it said that it applied science and data, to coming out with some of these resolutions. But in the area of perhaps the local government areas, 20 of them of the 774 that we've heard, there's a high rate of the infections. How can they concentrate on those particular communities to limit the spread of COVID-19? And would you say that where we're getting more of the cases we're seeing every day, if they're actually from that, or we're having an expanded, cases from those local governments?
It's going to be a bit difficult to say we are focusing strictly on those 20 local governments. We should understand that with the easing down of the lockdowns, people are moving in and out of those local governments. And with movement, there will be increased spread of the disease. And apart from that, it's everybody has a role to play. Apart from the government is doing its best. We as citizens also have our own roles to play. The physical distancing, use of face masks. If you go around the communities now, people are hardly using the face masks. People are hardly doing the personal hygiene. So we as the people, we need to do more. And we understand that we know that even in Lagos, out of the 20 LGAs, 11 are in Lagos. Even in Lagos, as at 4 weeks ago, we did what is called an active case search, whereby we went into the different communities to kind of find out whether people have symptoms of COVID, cough, fever, difficulty in breathing, and things that at Lagos we have done that already. And that's why with the people are saying that in Lagos we are getting more the number is increasing by the day. We should understand that in Lagos we have many more testing sites compared to when we initially started. In all, we have about 28 testing sites, and we are testing more people by the day, and that's why we're getting that number, and it's actually expected.
So it's also interesting too. The PT have said they will mobilize resources at state and local government levels, but that, more or less is the responsibility of the state governments. The NCDC mentioned that Nigeria has enough reagents for about 100,000 tests, and the challenge is not testing capacity, but the capacity to collect samples.
I understand what they're saying. You should understand that the state itself, the states are the one that are in charge. What they get from NCDs is support. I can speak for Lagos because I've been part of the team going around collecting samples. When there was a lockdown, it was easier for us to go around to collect samples. But now, there's traffic everywhere. So it takes, for you to get sample from one point to the other, it takes a long time. And that will also limit the number of people that you can get tested by the day.
So at the end of the day, with the ease of lockdown, are we moving forward or we're taking 10 steps back?
I would say we are also moving forward. We should understand that Lagos State has also made in each of the 20 local governments, there is a testing site in each of the 20 local governments. Apart from testing at the state level, also at local government, you can walk in. There are walk-in sites where you can walk in and get tested. So we need to find a balance in all this.
Tell us about your thoughts on the relaxation, places of worship, religious gatherings, and this is, we hear, in line with the safety protocols. Do you think we can monitor, that successfully?
I really don't think we can, because even despite during the lockdown, some churches were still having services. People were clamoring and going also. So I think that's where we ourselves, we need to talk to ourselves. The government are doing their best, but the people, the citizens also, we have a key role to play. Churches, they can use the online medium, and the government has said that less than 20 people
public gathering
can be gathered at a point in time. So the churches, the religious houses can also use the online medium in case, and which some of the churches have been doing already.
Let me quickly ask about the mandatory provision of hand-washing facilities, sanitizers. A lot of employers, small businesses hope that, they will get some palliative to ensure that this works. And there's also the ban on interstate travels, except for movement of agricultural produce. But essentially, with managing our cases, what are some of the things you would want to see? Seeing as we're getting more and more cases, and the NCDC is working at expanding a lot of the testing and molecular labs for states.
One of the things I will keep saying is that we as individuals, we need to take ownership. We need to, what's the word now? Ensure that we protect ourselves at all costs. And that is one of the key things we need to do. Even at the government level, there's still continuous education all around. We still need to continue sensitizing people, because even as that is, with a lot of things that have been done, some people are still of the opinion that there's no COVID in Nigeria. So we still need to keep educating the people, keep sensitizing people. But the most important aspect is for individuals to take ownership of their own health and their own safety.
All right, the non-pharmaceutical interventions. Yes. We appreciate your time, Dr. Olufemi Oyeko, public health physician. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Still to come on the COVID-19 update. Where are we with vaccines and treatment for the coronavirus? We have that when we return. And we continue with some of the efforts by states to ease in lockdown restrictions in the wake of COVID-19. And in line with the decongestion efforts of custodial centers across the nation due to the pandemic, 50 suspects awaiting trial for minor offences at the Nigerian Correctional Service Center, Jos Custodial Center, have been discharged by the Chief Judge of Plateau State. Justice Yakubu Dawak led the Committee on Custodial Center Decongestion, where inmates awaiting trials for minor offences in the eyes of the law were attended to in an open court session at the premises of the centre, with hearing of awaiting trial suspects whose cases are before magistrate and area courts. And as Nigeria records more positive cases of the virus, researchers from all walks of life have been challenged to brace up, question critically the narrative and come up with long-lasting solutions to the pandemic. The Ooni of Ife made the call on his involvement in the COVID-19 control across the country, also saying that there is a lot the small workforce like welders, chemists, painters, or other artisans can do every day to help contain COVID-19. And the Kaduna State Ministry of Health has commenced active case search within the communities in 9 local government areas where COVID-19 infections have been confirmed, according to the Commissioner of Health in the state. Health officials are going into communities to search for and test persons that may show any symptoms of COVID-19. She explains that so far 29,771 households have been visited as part of the active case search, adding that health officials have tested 297 persons with symptoms such as fever and sore throat. Research and trials are going on at a fast pace across the world to find a cure for the novel coronavirus. And joining us to talk more about this is Dr. Adishina Afasat. She's a consultant clinical pharmacist and public health pharmacist. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, so apparently it's a race to finding a vaccine. Are you afraid that we might have to wait too long?
Well, as far as vaccine production is and vaccination, it is a very cost-effective way for achieving preventive medicine. So if we do this as a country, it will really go a long way for us to curb the disease. So we may not have to stay for a long time because we have the manpower with the universities around, research institutions around us. We can do it with the correct enabling environment.
So only yesterday, Bill Gates argues that without a vaccine, life will not return to normal. He predicted that as the pandemic is slowing in developing countries, or rather more developed countries, it might become worse in developing countries.
Well, that's just a prediction. And as I said earlier, vaccine is really very cost-effective to reduce to achieve preventive medicine. So if Bill Gates is predicting that, as we are seeing the way our own case is going in Nigeria, Africa, it is not as serious, as fatal as the ones we have seen in the other part of the world.
But Nigeria has a high case, especially in West Africa. Also, our death toll, at 299 is also on the high compared to maybe some other countries on the continent. But we're hearing world leaders call for the people's vaccine, a lot of involvement. I think 2 weeks, a couple of days ago, the PTF talked about indigenous efforts to finding treatments, production, COVID vaccine production for COVID-19. Are you optimistic by that? And what is the Pharmacy Society planning on this?
Yes, very, very optimistic. With over 20 School of Pharmacies in the country, with the Researches Institute like NIPRID, all these together with the manpower, with the pharmaceutical industries around us, there are lots of researches that have been done. If the government is able to put all this together, I think we're going to go a very long way in both production of the vaccines and even herbal drugs, our own local indigenous production. We'll go a very long way as far as we're able to harness all this together. Because it's not just a one-person thing. The research institutes, the private sectors, all the institutes, the researchers, the universities have to come together to be able to do this.
So are we making any headway, or are there still some challenges?
No, there are headways. As far as the Nigerian Institute for Research and Development is concerned, NAPRID, I am aware of two products, Niprimune and Niprimune Plus, that has been developed. And it has been tested, it's actually on phase 2. So with these and other ones that have been put, at least 3 for now, we can get there.
All right, lots of optimism there from our guests. We'd like to thank you for joining us, Dr. Afasat Adeshina, consultant clinical pharmacist, public health pharmacist. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to our correspondent in Yenogwa, Deborah Timiwood, with the latest update from Bayelsa State.
Bayelsa State has recorded its second coronavirus-related death. Now, this is happening few days after the state recorded its first coronavirus-related death. Not only that, the NCDC has announced that the state has 9 new cases of COVID-19. With the increase in the number of active cases in the state, which at the moment is 11, Bayelsans are calling on other residents of the state to ensure that they stay safe and please stay at home if they have absolutely nothing to do outside.
We should try as much as possible to go by the rules. Social distancing should be observed. Hand sanitizer should be used. Masks should be used to ensure that we don't contact it or spread it to others.
With the recent development, we just need to keep to the rules and regulations. We need to buckle up. Just need to sanitize ourselves, keep social distance.
They should take precaution about what they are saying, to wash our hands, to keep our environment clean, and to avoid public areas.
It would interest you to know that the Bayelsa state government has since lifted the ban on religious gathering. Also, traders who are not trading in food items and other medical supplies have since begun opening their shops for commercial activities in Bayelsa state. From Yenagua, Dobra Timiwood for COVID-19 updates.
Not just in Nigeria, India has registered a record daily spike with 8,392 new infections. The world's second most populous nation now has 190,000 cases, including 5,394 deaths. As the country eases some lockdown restrictions, Prime Minister Narendra Modi says strengthening the economy while it battles coronavirus is top priority.
Despite infections still going up, more and more businesses are starting to open up across India as it slowly eases one of the world's harshest lockdowns. Starting from June 8, restaurants, hotels, shopping centres and places of worship will be allowed to reopen in many areas in the first stage of a 3-phase plan. And over in France, the country has officially entered phase 2 of its lockdown easing. Bars and restaurants have reopened, a 100-kilometre limit on travel has been lifted, and more schools are restarting classes. Singapore is also very slowly starting to ease its lockdown. Schools resume classes for graduating years today, but students have to abide by strict social distancing rules both in class and around the school premises. In South Korea, cluster infections at small church gatherings are putting health authorities on edge ahead of tomorrow's further school reopening. According to health authorities and local government, at least 40 cases have been traced to small church gatherings in the capital.
From the NCDC, every new case is motivation to keep pushing, and each recovery is proof that we can get through this together. The website has loads of updates, information, statistics on the COVID-19 regulations and also the guidelines. From the World Health Organization, you'll find the coronavirus disease situation dashboard, the interactive map. It provides the latest global numbers on a daily basis. It also has strategies and plans each moment. It keeps updating with all you need to know about the virus. Also, our website, channelstv.com, has the latest news. All you need to do is log on, access the news in health, politics, business, sports, Africa, and around the world, all at your fingertips. That's channelstv.com. That's a COVID-19 update. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker.